Take two trying to shoot this video. You know, it's about time I finally did Black Sabbath. I mean, I can't believe it actually took me over 2 years. I think that's a little ridiculous, so we're finally getting to it. 20 albums. Yes, they only have 19, but like you know, I always love to hit my even numbers, so I decided to throw in the Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know album as well, just to hit that 20, because, yeah, they may have called it a Heaven and Hell album, but it's Black Sabbath, let's be real. Yeah, you're not fooling me with that Captain America Civil War bullshit. That's an Avengers movie. That's a Black Sabbath album. Let's get started with in last place, and it's not going to be what you think it is. So while I don't think Born Again is their worst album, it is the one I find extremely annoying. And that's for one reason. It's the vocals. No offense to Ian Gillan, but like, he keeps doing these screeches at several points in this album, and it's really annoying, and I don't want to listen to it again. Especially at the end of Disturbing the Priest. It's just like, could he just chill the hell out and stop screaming in my ear? And it sucks because there are some decent songs like Digital Bitch. The clean riff in the title track I think is really good, but he just keeps doing this. And while I don't think it's their worst album, it's easily the one I'd rather listen to the least. Okay, so Forbidden. I think this is what everyone would expect to be in last, and yeah, I think this is definitely their worst album, although I do not think it's a total abomination. Can't Get Close to You is pretty decent, mainly for the verse. Shaking Off Chains has some really bad moments, but also some pretty good moments. And yeah, the track with Ice-T or whoever the hell it is it's just like, why? It's bad, but it doesn't annoy me to the level that Born Again does. Okay, so Tear, honestly, it's just Forbidden and Born Again are the only bad albums, I think. And these next, 10, I think, are okay. So at this point, it's just how many songs do I like on each of them, and just overall enjoyment value. And Tear is pretty decent. Lawmaker, I think, is pretty solid. Valhalla, I think, shreds. I think it's something with the title, because the Pantera song Valhalla also kind of slays in a not very good album. I think you just put Valhalla in your title and it's instantly a good song. This one just feels along the same lines as the albums that came out around this time. It's just not as interesting. So, Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. What does that even mean? What's next? Rush featuring Geddy Lee? Iron Maiden featuring Steve Harris? What does that even mean? It's a solo album, but the label was like, nah, bro, you gotta have a Sabbath album because you gotta have one every year, apparently. So throw your name on there, and then, oops, no one likes this one because it's not a Black Sabbath album. But for what it is, honestly, it's still kind of good. In for the Kill has some really cool riffs. Turn to Stone, the title track, Danger Zone, all these songs are pretty cool. It's just not really a Black Sabbath album, because it just isn't, because Tony is the only one there from Black Sabbath. So it's decent, but just compared to the other ones, nah. Cross Purposes has some cool songs. Eyewitness, I think, is pretty good. And then, what's it called? Immaculate Deception. That is one of the coolest song titles I ever heard in my life. And it's a pretty good song, thankfully. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints about this album. It's just, there's just other albums that I like more. And just like Cross Purposes, Never Say Die, again, don't really have any complaints. It's alright. You know, the title track, I think, has some pretty cool riffs. Shockwave, the same thing. It's your typical Black Sabbath album. A lot of good riffs, some pretty good songs, but not any particularly that are amazing. 13 is my 14th favorite album. Oh, so close. But it is only because I included that other Heaven and Hell album. So if we weren't counting that one, it would be my 13th favorite Black Sabbath album. And for the sake of satisfaction, let's just take a look. Yeah, that's nice. But yeah, the last album, God Is Dead and Loner, I think are pretty solid. But honestly, I think the bonus tracks kind of save this one, because it was like 4 spots lower on my list. And then, you know, Methodemic, I think, is pretty sick. And really all the bonus tracks are really good. Arguably better than a lot of the songs in the base album, because it's mostly just average, but I do think the bonus tracks bump it up a little bit. And it's just such a shame that they just couldn't get their shit together to get Bill Ward back in there for a true, proper Black Sabbath finale. But, you know, for what it is, it's still pretty good. Okay, so these next two, Headless Cross and Eternal Idol, sorry to spoil it, but that's next. Honestly, these two are damn near even. I can take or leave either one of them. I just put Headless Cross here because I didn't really have like any particular songs that stood out, but they were all pretty solid. Rise up to the shining. Yeah, with Eternal Idol, I thought The Shining, Hard Life to Love, and Lost Forever were the highlights. And that's really the only reason it's above Headless Cross, but like, you know, like I said, either one, they're both really good. Just still great riffs from Tony. And honestly, these albums were better than I thought they were going to be, just because, you know, in the 80s already, just all these lineup changes. You know, I was just like, oh man, do I really want to hear these albums? But no, they're both pretty solid still. So, Technical Ecstasy, what do I keep saying? A couple songs that stand out, it's pretty solid. You Won't Change Me is pretty good. It's alright, I think it's cool that Bill sings it. Always cool to hear different vocalists featuring on some songs. Rock and Roll Doctor is very rockin'. And I think my favorite song on the album was Dirty Woman. I think that is definitely the album's saving grace. And She's Gone makes for a pretty solid intro for that song. But once it kicks in, it gets really good, especially the whole last half being this grand finale with double bass going on, which I'm pretty sure is the only Black Sabbath song that has double bass, if I remember correctly, so that's really cool. Probably would have been number 10 if had it not been for this next album's few very, very iconic songs. Because the album that started it all, Black Sabbath, is cracking our top 10. And really, it's just all about the title track. Their title song is just so cool and so haunting. I love how it sounds. And then, not to mention, you have The Wizard with that kick-ass harmonica, and NIB with that bass intro and that super kick-ass riff. Past that, there's a few covers and just kind of more okay stuff, but it's mainly for those 3 songs. It started everything, but let's be real, this band would continue to reform this genre in a much better way. So Sabotage is tough for me because Symptom of the Universe is my favorite Ozzy Sabbath song and my second favorite Black Sabbath song overall, because that is, bar none, hands down, that is the heaviest verse ever written. Between that chugging riff, Bill Ward slamming that crash cymbal and doing fills like crazy, and Ozzy's screeching vocals. Absolutely one of my favorite verses of all time. And the chorus, again, with him just singing yeah and all those crazy fills. Oh my god, and then it chills out for that whole last part of the song. Symptom of the Universe is the only reason that this album is at number 9. But Hole in the Sky, I think, is pretty solid too. But then we have Am I Going Insane, which is one of my least favorite Black Sabbath songs. So it's like one of my favorites and one of my least favorites on the same album. So it's very uneven for me, but still, goddamn, Symptom of the Universe. All I gotta say. Okay, so we have our Heaven and Hell album with The Devil You Know. Man, obviously we have Bible Black. That is the definitive classic. No, not that Bible Black. This Bible Black. God damn. I also like Evil Cannibals, but that's pretty much just because it has like a higher tempo, and anything with a higher tempo I automatically like. And then Follow Your Tears is so full of like these face scrunching heavy ass riffs. It's super evil sounding and such a cool song. Man, it's almost kind of sad listening to this album because it was Dio's last performance, so it's just like, oh man. But man, what a solid way to go out. Okay, so Volume 4, we have Changes, which is the only reason I picked that one out is because the Big Mouth intro, the cover is just kind of hilarious, but it's still a pretty solid song. And then you have the S songs, Supernaut and Snowblind. Great, really great riffs. Honestly, the thing holding this one back is, I don't know, it might be just me, but something about the production just seems all over the place. Maybe I have a weird copy, but like several songs have like varying volumes and like tonally it's just off. I don't know, maybe I just had a weird copy, but like something about production just kind of annoys me, and that's why I can't put Volume 4 very much higher. Oh man, what a breath of fresh air Dehumanizer was. I was very excited to get back to this one because I remember the first time I heard it, it was pretty good, and then just trying to get through all those other 80s albums just to get back to this one again, and yeah, it still holds up. I is a really damn good song. Letters from the Earth has some really solid riffs. After All actually kind of sounds like it should be an Ozzy song. Just the way like the vocals kind of sound, it just gives me some Ozzy vibes. But man, favorite song on here is Master of Insanity. God, there's just the riffs and the chorus. That is such a good song. But I did notice something. I did make some observations, and I kind of browsed around this song and the other song, looked in the comments, see if anyone else made this comparison. I didn't see anything, but look, man, we might have some riff stealing in here. I don't know. You be the judge, but here they are. Yeah, no wonder Master of Insanity is my favorite song on here, because Domination is my favorite Pantera song. So I think that probably helps because it has like those similar riffs. I don't know, man. They're very similar. I don't want to point fingers or anything, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Alright, yeah, with Dehumanizer, that's where we get to, like, the prime time Black Sabbath albums. And kicking off our top 5 is going to be Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. More like Sabbath, what a bloody good Sabbath album this is. Like, the title track is so sick. It has such a great main riff, and just the Ozzy screeches. Just, oh man, that's such a great song. Sabracadabra, thanks Metallica for making me like that song even more than I would have. Even the Fluff interlude is pretty solid. But unfortunately, I think after Killing Yourself to Live, it just kind of gets okay. Like, none of those last 3 songs really stand out to me. So that's why it's at 5. But still, God, some really, really great stuff on here. So, Mob Rules. Well, I'll tell you, I do like Falling Off the Edge. That's a pretty good song. The title track is really good, but the key, I think the key song on this one is goddamn Sign of the Southern Cross. Holy shit. I can't believe that's only the 3rd track on the album. That shit should have closed it. If that would have closed it, it would have been such a good way to end the album. It has such a great build-up and such a great payoff. I think that is easily my 2nd favorite Dio era Sabbath song, because it's pretty much a goddamn masterpiece. And pretty much the only reason that Mob Rules is at 4, I guess the main reason. The other songs are pretty solid too, but that's a really good song. But there's only one other Dio song that can top that one for me, and that's Heaven and Hell. Yeah, the title track is my favorite Sabbath song. Just from that triplet verse to that like soaring chorus with the choir, and that whole double time outro, and that acoustic ending. Man, yeah, Heaven and Hell is a goddamn another masterpiece. But besides that one, I think Die Young is my other favorite song on this album. And honestly, it just kind of reminds me of a Dio solo album, and that's not a bad thing at all. Yeah, like Neon Nights and Children of the Sea, other pretty solid songs. Just, yeah, number 3, it's really damn good. And, well, that gives us our top 2. And I always see articles where it's like, you know, albums that are objectively better than Paranoid or whatever. And, you know, while I can see that, they're definitely pretty close. I'm sorry, man, but Master of Reality is a really good album. You know, just so many good riffs, like Sweet Leaf. It's not one of my favorite classic Sabbath songs, but it's still really solid. After Forever has a really solid groove. Children of the Grave is another really big classic one. Lord of This World, just full of so many good riffs. Yeah, I can see why people like this one more than Paranoid. And you know, I always take pride in the fact when I have an album at my number 1 that's very different from other people, like Rush, most notably with Clockwork Angels, you know, Maiden. But sometimes I have to concede, because our number 1 pick for Black Sabbath is just unmatched. Because Paranoid is just damn near flawless. We opened with War Pigs. Do I even need to explain War Pigs? Just those very iconic verse with very iconic lyrics too. So many drum fills, so many good riffs. Paranoid is just an all-time classic for them. I actually kind of prefer live versions when it's a little faster because the studio one is pretty slow, but still absolute classic. And my only nitpick is Planet Caravan. Now, I don't think it's a bad song at all. It's just never one that I go out of my way to listen to. I'm never like, oh man, I want to put on some Planet Caravan. It just never happens to me. But beyond that, Iron Man, like a baby can be born in like 3 minutes, and like 5 minutes later, that kid has probably heard the Iron Man riff. Like it's just super iconic, man. Electric Funeral with that wicked guitar tone. We have Hand of Doom with that shuffling part in the verse. Rat Salad, just a big ass drum solo, absolutely. And then Fairies Wear Boots, just another really good song. Just everything on this album, minus Planet Caravan, is just incredible. Actually, one of the best albums I think ever recorded. And simply put, man, this is just I have to concede and just be like, yeah, this is their magnum opus. So there you have my list on Black Sabbath. As always, let me know what your favorites are, because man, this is just one of those bands where like everyone's got to hear them. I think if you like heavy music, you like metal, you have to listen to Black Sabbath. There's no way around it. And well, I will see you guys in a couple weeks for the next band which I'm doing, and it's going to be the first instrumental band I'm doing. Yes, we are going instrumental. I wanted to do them last year, but I decided against it. And I still have my list, but I definitely need to revise it, I think. I got to go through them again. It's just one of those bands where I honestly do not know how the hell I'm going to rank them, because it's just, they're all just really good. But until then, yeah, just look forward to that, and rock on. God, I don't know how to end videos, man. Jesus.